Batching Day. Sally and Sally joining you, but we'll end the day with the Sparkle song. I can't wait to get stuck in and have a good chat with Sally, but if you're out there on the live stream, get up and dance now. It's the Sparkle song, baby.
Yeah, you better step into the light, just give it a try. Think that it's time you let that spark out. You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. And who cares if you might mess it up? You're stronger than the others think. And who cares if you might mess it up? Go cause you're a work of art. You should know that you are perfect with those flaws. Yeah, you better step into the light, just give it a try. Know that it's time you let that spark out. You've been hiding in the shadows way too long.
Podcast Batching Day for Straight Talk with Sally. I'm your host, Sally Sparks Cousins, and we have our final guest with us today. It's been a great lineup of guests, so many great conversations, aha moments, and I have 2 brand new books to add to my Audible collection. So today so far we have had on the millionaire man himself, Chris, who is part of our lineup of millionaire Kajabi earners. And also we had Jared from Kajabi, he's a manager of customer success, and we spoke about really great communication, right? Like talking to your people to grow your business. And next we have another Sally. She must be amazing because she has the best name, right? And she's going to be talking all about how to make money while you speak. So if you have not yet done so, you need to go and chat with Dr. Sparkle. Right? If you're like, I wish I caught this episode live and you could chat like these lovely people out there. We've got Rebecca out there. Hey, Rebecca. We've got Mar out there, Joyce, and all the other peeps. And I can see many eyeballs on us. Let us know where you're joining us from. Hey, Yay! Claude finally said hello in the chat. I know you stalk. But if you don't want to miss any lives, then go and chat with the awesome Dr. Sparkle. She will hook you up with reminders. And just go to Sparkle with Sally to get those. You'll get reminders in Messenger. So, also, if you want to know about all our live events, make sure you hit subscribe, turn the bell button on for YouTube, or go to our live calendar for all the cool things happening inside the Sparkle world. All right, guys. Our final guest for Podcast Batching Day on this 40-degree day here in Melbourne, which is like, for those over in the past, that's like 104 Fahrenheit. Like, it is hot, and I am not in a climate-controlled space. So I am glowing and glistening, not because I am glowing and glistening, it's because it's 40 goddamn degrees. So anyway, let's get into today's last interview with the beautiful, the amazing, spectacular Sally Prosser. She is a voice and public speaking coach with over 12 years experience in media, including TV, radio, news reporting, PR. She's acting as a spokesperson for one of Australia's largest water companies. She helps professional business owners speak with confidence. From stepping on stage to speaking on podcasts to showing up online and even in the boardroom. As a master NLP, and we love all the woohoo, so she definitely fits into our world with hypnosis and a spiritual life coach and speech and drama teacher. I always thought I would love to be a drama teacher. How much fun would that be? But Sally, she really takes those holistic approach to voice, and she's energetic. That she must be, because her name is Sally, and she's affected. She really helps people with physical, mental, and emotional well-being. But I met her on Clubhouse, and then I saw her TikToks, and I'm like, this girl got some sexy voice going on. And Sally is a TEDx speaker helping coaches and leaders present big ideas with impact. In 2020, she was named Young Entrepreneur of the Year for a PR and media in Queensland, and yep, her TikTok following is now more than 340,000. Let's all welcome the amazing, the sensational Sally Prosser. Hello, Sally.
Oh my God, what an introduction. It's so great to be here and see you rather than just hear you like we did in Clubhouse.
I know, right? We were in Clubhouse back in the day where we were falling asleep, and I was walking into walls in the middle of the night because I didn't sleep for 3 days. And yeah, and I'm like, oh, there's another Sally out there, and she's an Aussie. Yes.
Yeah.
So before we get stuck into today's content, which I'm sure there are so many people out there who are inside the Sparkle world who really want to learn how to speak better and how to make money from speaking, I want to know, oh, this means we have a new subscriber. Yay! Thank you for subscribing to the channel. We share some Sparkle love. Thank you so much. Okay, Sally, history. Tell me, where did you come from to where you are now? I want to know a little bit more background about you, and I'm sure our listeners do too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was one of those perhaps unusual people who have always loved public speaking. I think I was birthed with a microphone, and from a young age I was always the one who was speaking in front of the class and did the speech and drama and the debating and the public speaking and all that kind of thing. And so it's no surprise that I went into a career of television news reporting, radio news reporting, and then across to being a spokesperson. And Sal, I can see in the background that you've got poo emojis.
I do. And that's P1 and P2 because they're busy getting shit done.
Oh, I love that. So when I was a spokesperson for a water and sewage company, I was literally on national TV talking about shit. It was all about, the water and sewage network and how you should only flush the 3 Ps, pee, poo and paper. So
a great use of your beautiful talent there.
Oh my gosh, yes. It was also at a time in my life when I was single, so the date conversation wasn't as palatable as you might expect. So I went into spokespersoning for a company and then started my business around 5 years ago now, because I could see that there really was this theme throughout my life of being able to use my physical voice with confidence. And I could see how helpful it was, not just in the jobs that I had, but in my life. Because there's something that you might not know about. I literally just shared this on Instagram today. So you're getting this hot off the press.
Okay.
When I was about 28, so this is going back almost 10 years there, sharing my age with you all, I found myself in a relationship where I lost my voice. I was literally on national television speaking with a lot of confidence, a lot of resonance. You might be able to see I've got this news reporter kind of voice. Yet I would go home and I didn't have a voice. It was this confusing, isolating relationship where he lied about a lot of things. There was conjecture about whether he was a doctor or not. Like, he told me he was a doctor. I didn't really know. It was very, very confusing. There was no proof. There was situations where he sent me a pay slip and to prove where he worked, and I later found it in the top of my scanner, all like cobbled together with sticky tape and liquid paper.
Wow.
And so it was all really quite dark. And it was during that time where I'd completely lost my physical and metaphorical voice. And I'm sure people can relate to this, that feeling of not having a voice. It's very different from being able to talk. And so during that time, I was really at rock bottom, and it was my physical voice that got me out of it. I was lying on my bed one day, just full of the grief and the shame because, I dated this guy in secret for a while as well because my family didn't like him. So I told him I broke up with them and then just kept going out with him anyway, which was even more isolating and caused my voice to retreat more because I was lying so much. So I'm on the bed and I had this little fire in my belly, this feeling of, Sal, what are you doing? This life force came over me. Sal, it was kind of like the phoenix rising. And in that moment, I was like, I know I have a physical voice. I know I've got a voice and I am going to reclaim it. And in that moment, I decided to make it my life's mission to use my voice to help other people find their fire and use their voice too. Because when we use our physical voice, that's when we can really reawaken and ignite our inner voice.
Oh, Sal, you serious goosebumps all over. Like, I'm hot out here, but now I've got goosebumps. Thank you first for sharing that vulnerable story because, I hope it empowers other people as well where if they're feeling stuck or if they're in a relationship where they shouldn't be in, use your voice, go talk to somebody. But I see, because most people who are in our kind of field where we're here to help and inspire other people, it's usually through trauma or through some bad experience that we then want to use one of our skill sets to go out and help others. And it's amazing that, metaphorically you lost your voice, but then reclaiming it and realizing how. So thank you so much for sharing. And, I think that that's just amazing because, you do have that news reader voice, like I'll see you chatting on Instagram. I'm like, oh my God, like, where's that come from? Look, our topic today, which I know people are fascinated about, and we've got quite a few people tuning in because I know that they've been waiting to learn more, especially from, somebody like yourself. But we want to talk about money and business and how is being the face and the voice of your business actually skyrocketed like sales so that you actually have a sustainable business using your voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I shared that story because this is where it all starts from. If we can't speak up in our relationships, then how can we speak up for our business? And you're right. So a little bit of a secret, I have hardly spent anything on ads. So I'm 5 years in business, hardly anything on ads, just starting that journey now. And all of my revenue has pretty much come from using my voice, whether that be speaking at an event, getting on TikTok on video, being on all the social media platforms, having my own podcast, guesting on podcasts. And so as a business owner, you have a business because you've got a message to share, something to help the world. And so the question is how do you get that message out there? And there is no better amplifier for your message than your voice. And so if you are not out there using your voice, then how are you calling in those ideal customers and calling in that flow of cash sales into your business?
Yeah. And I 100% agree. I was the girl behind the camera taking the photos, right? I hated being in front and talking, and I was so nervous to do all of those things. Sure, I like to joke around, but when it got to getting there and actually sharing a message, it can be very scary for people. They know they want to help people, but they have a fear of speaking. So you were born with a microphone in your hand, or, like you were born to speak. You know this. What about those out there that are going, oh, yeah, but she was born to speak? What would you tell those people who are fearful of actually speaking on camera, going onto social media to share their message, and they hide behind quotes and images and scared to actually use their words on social through voice?
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why I like to talk about vocal courage more than vocal confidence, because so much of this is courage. And as I learned in my experience when I lost my metaphorical voice, this might be a little bit mind blowing, but you are not afraid of speaking. Nobody is afraid of public speaking. It's not the speaking itself. We all talk, right? We all talk. It's not the speaking itself. What it is it's the speaking scenario that is that pressure point where a whole lot of other existing fears and insecurities pop out, which is why speaking coaching is such a great path to go down, or doing the work on your voice, because if you can clear it up in the speaking, then it clears it up in the rest of your life. And so the first thing I'd say is to explore where that story comes from for you. We all have that speaking story. And commonly I hear, oh, public speaking's not my thing. Oh, I don't want to bother people. People who speak on social media are a lot of attention seekers. I've got a really horrible voice. All these kinds of stories that become true, right? Our external voice is a megaphone for our internal voice. So it's changing that story and working out where this story came from. And with the hundreds of clients I've worked with, Sal, usually it's the fear of being seen, the fear of being heard. As a child, you might have spoken up and been told to shut up and pipe down, and that what you had to say isn't important. And then you've learnt that it's safer to not be heard or seen. It's safer to be small because you've gone out there in the past somewhere in your life and it has been, nah, sit down and shut up, kid. And then that's really stayed with us, right? And it manifests over and over and over, and we keep running that loop.
Yeah.
You don't have to, right? You don't have to. You can change the story, and that's where we start.
Wow. Yeah, I call it the little itty bitty shitty committee, the little voice in your head that's telling you all the things. That fear of judgment too that comes up from childhood. I think judgment's a huge fear. So what's some tips you could give to help change the story inside of your mind?
Yeah, so you want to bring on board your mind, your body, and your breath. These are the three things I work with, because when we go to speak, 55% is physiology. And you would know that because when whether it's a video or whether it's on stage, it's that feeling in your body. It's like we've got the whole zoo happening. We've got the boa constrictor wrapped around the neck, and the monkey in the mind, and the butterflies in the tummy, and it's like going crazy. So we want to change our state and not be triggered, or at least identify that trigger and make it different. So what I would say is start off with not listening to the itty bitty shitty committee and listening to your hype squad. So your hype squad is your best friend, your queen, your lover, your king, your warrior, your diva, all of these voices that are going to tell you what your best friend would. And come up with a mantra. It's often easy for us to say what the negative voice in our head is saying. So come up with, what is the positive voice saying? I can do this. I've got this. I've got an important message to share. There are people out there who will benefit from my service or my product or what I have to give to the world. So it's working on that mindset. The pep talks are a good one. Also, an alter ego. Alter ego is good as well. I have an alter ego called Scarlett, and she's
Yeah.
like Beyonce meets Taylor Swift on the Reputation tour.
I love
And
that.
Sal might care about judgment, but Scarlett doesn't give a shit. You know,
Yeah.
she's just
She
out there.
would. Yeah. She
Yeah.
doesn't care what people think. She just goes out there and does the thing. I really love the finding the trigger side, because the funny thing is I can sit here and talk and see you through the computer and have the camera going, no problems whatsoever. Then I've got to do the same thing when I step onto a stage. But the sweating, I talk really fast, the butterflies, the nerves. So I need to figure out the trigger and then change the story. So I'm going to start working, like, not that we get out very much, seriously. I have sun in a bottle, which is my little vitamin D in the morning, but I want to get out and speak on stages more. So, but the last time I got invited to speak was a few months ago up in Queensland. I should have totally said, hey, whereabouts are you? Because I was invited to be a speaker at an event, but oh my God, I didn't realize how nervous I was going to be until I had to actually step up and do the thing. But I do it every day right here. So it's so strange how speaking here is fine, but on the stage is like, I don't know, just some weird shit comes over.
That is such a great example. So you can see right there that it's not speaking. And there's plenty of people who are the other way around, where they're okay in person, but they really freeze up in front of a camera. And so I would say, you know, what is it about being on stage and that environment that is making you feel that way?
Yeah.
And it could be unfamiliarity as well. So I'm a little bit like you. I'm online all the time and I have a podcast and all of that kind of thing. And especially during COVID, I wasn't on stage in person as much. And so when I did get back out to do those in-person events, I felt a little bit of like, oh, what's going on here? Nerves and excitement feel the same way in the body, and it's the mind that assigns the meaning. So often we're completely fine, but our mind just says, oh, this is bad. So for example, people say, Sal, do you get nervous? And I say, hell yes, and I love it. I love the feeling of my heart beating fast and that churning in my belly and that little bit of like sweating. I love that feeling because it means like, all right, we're ready to go, baby, you know.
Yeah.
And I have a great story with that happening. And I know for me, it was the unfamiliarity. I imagine, Sally, it'd be the same for you as well. It just haven't done that kind of speaking. So it's like when you go to a new city overseas, right? You might go out there and go, I'm not really sure of the streets or the language or what's going on, but we're just going to go out and have a bit of an adventure. You're not going to stay in your hotel the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's the same with speaking, going, all right, I haven't been out here for a while, especially if it's a brand new environment where you've never been and haven't got the lay of the land, which is why if you
build
are
that muscle more, right? Build the muscle, get on more stages. That really interesting. I have to practice, build the muscle and go out there and do more. So what about those who are like, well, I don't know what to say. Do I sound authentic? What's some tips you can give around, you know, turning up and being authentically you, say on video and speaking?
So video especially does need practice because for a lot of people it is unfamiliar looking at a lens. I did television reporting for many years, so I'm a little bit of a lens tart. Give me a lens, give me a microphone, I'm good to go. So I'd say practice, and Instagram stories is a really good platform for this because it's nice and quick, disappears after 24 hours. And if you're not even ready to post, then recording on your phone without posting, just getting used to videoing. I would recommend as well video with the camera turned around because otherwise you'll be tempted to look at yourself and that can be more of a hindrance than a help. So just setting it up, making sure you're in the frame and doing it the other way around. And not comparing yourself to other speakers. There is no speaker like you. Comparison is the thief of all joy. So if you're looking and saying, why don't I speak like that? Like, for example, I know I speak like I've come off the set of some kind of kids broadcast news show. It's like a mix between a TV, like a kids presenter and a TV thing. And you don't need to be like anybody else. One of the exercises I do with my clients is about the personal metaphor. You know, what is your why and what is your speaking style? one of my clients is, I posted about this yesterday actually. She said that she wanted to be a big, bold, loud, confident speaker. And I said, well, confidence doesn't necessarily come with big loudness. And speaking in a quiet voice, which is what she naturally wanted to do, taking bigger pauses, staying more still, she was able to really own that style for herself as a speaker, let go of that comparison and lean into her strength. So that's what I would say. Nobody can speak like you. Your voice is as unique as a fingerprint.
Yeah, beautifully
And
said.
absolutely, you can access parts of your voice. This is what I do every day. A lot of people are completely disconnected from their bodies. The voice is totally up in their head and they're worried about what I should say and their head's in the phone and the voice isn't in the body.
Yeah.
So bringing that down will help with that connection and then take away some of those stresses, like what do I say and how should I say it and is it the right thing or the wrong thing?
Yes.
There's no
Yes.
right or wrong, there's just a thing.
One moment, I'm going to sneeze. Hang on. Right at the wrong time. I like that, bringing the voice back into the body. So when I was doing my life coaching certification, I remember going along and they were talking about how to speak and speak with authority. And here in Australia, we tend to go up, don't we? Like we're asking a question all the time.
At the end of every sentence.
At the end of every sentence, we go up. And I really started to recognize that's something that, and I've looked at a lot of clients that I'd worked with previously where they did that. I mean, I'm not a voice coach, but that's one thing that I say, and I never thought about it. It's actually moving it down into the body. I thought that was really good. I when I first started, I'm just making sure I go down at the end of a sentence, right? I was like using my hands to remind myself to go down because well, I don't know all the technical stuff, but I remember them saying that as somebody of influence who you're trying to teach, if you keep going up, you sound like you're asking a question all the time. It's not great for marketing.
Yeah, the
And
inflection of validation. Like, am I okay? Do you want to buy my thing? And the person's like, I don't know. I've actually got a great technique for that one, Sal.
yeah,
So instead of going down, because that can be the inflection of deflation, where like I'm making my point and it can kind of die.
Yeah.
Imagine it like a dart. I call this finishing strong. So it's like a dart that you're throwing out or a little cymbal on a drum kit. And so rather than going down, you go down. Like it goes bang out. And so imagining that you're popping it forward like a sparkle. It's
Hey,
more
baby,
thinking.
hey. Now, I'm just going to picture that. Like that's a really great way to visually see that rather than that down. And especially in the field that we're in, and we all help coach. Well, I help coaches particularly. You're there to inspire and uplift people. So yeah, thinking about it in more, and this is why you do what you do, coming and bringing in new ideas for me. Like seriously, today's lineup of guests I've had have been like all these light bulb moments over things I didn't know. So selfishly, having a podcast is awesome because you get to like pick the brain of amazing people and learn stuff
Tell
you
me
don't
about
know.
it. I've got a podcast too. Yeah.
All right. So what's some hot tips that you might have for sounding confident, competent, and credible when it comes to speaking, using that voice?
So the first one would be those mindset tips. So getting into the pattern of looking at yourself in the mirror, even naked, if you want, giving yourself that pep talk, and then bringing it into the body. So how do you bring the voice into the body? Really feel where your feet are, ground your feet, and imagine the voice starts at the soles of the feet and goes all the way to the crown of the head. So moving your body before speaking, rolling the shoulders back and forth, jiggling, doing like a Mexican wave, dancing. Physical movement is so great to help you speak with confidence. So if you're somebody who stays very, very still and then just puts the camera up and goes, okay, right, now I'm going to make a social video, chances are it's not going to come across very dynamic and natural. It will come across stilted because your body's stilted. Same thing with on stage. If you've got the ability backstage to be moving and twisting and getting into the body, then when you stand on stage, you'll actually have more ability to stay still and be controlled. So anyone who's kind of done like weird shakes and like rocking from side to side, that's a surefire sign from the body that we haven't, harnessed that energy. You don't need to get rid of your butterflies. You just want to get them flying in formation, right? So it's harnessing the energy that is there. And then you want to breathe. So the most trustworthy voices, the most confident, competent, trustworthy voices are full of hot air. So don't let anyone tell you that you shouldn't be full of hot air. Okay. You want that air to be flowing out and your words ride on a wave of air.
Yeah.
Now you might be thinking, like, hang on, I've never really thought about what the air is doing. But this is where, if you're watching along, you can put your hands on your belly or on your waist. And as you take a deep breath in, you want that part of your body to be moving rather than the top. So what you'll hear a lot is it'll be a high breath and the voice will come up here and it will sound very restricted, maybe a little bit crackly, a little bit light and not embodied. We want that voice to drop down into your hoo-ha if you're a woman, right?
I love it.
There's a reason that the vocal cords and your other opening look uncannily similar. Yeah,
All
it's
sorts
one
of visions
voice,
going
the
on there
other one
now.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
here
you
you
can
go.
see when you
Orgasms are
breathe.
great for voice.
When you breathe, like you could see when you went in, your shoulders went up, and there's no support up here, and it's quite airy, and I could hear that crackle sound in your voice as well. So yeah, oh, it's hot, so hot out here.
Oh.
Normally I like to stand, but I am so sitting today. So Sal, we like to do some sparkle questions as well. So outside of topic, and there's some great tips there: mindset, body, breath. And
Breathing low and deep.
yeah, low and deep. So, but I also have sparkle questions for you. So we go a little off topic. We want to learn more about you. So what I want to know is, when you were younger, did you know what you wanted to be when you were really young? And does it show up for you today?
This is hilarious. I really wanted to be a librarian because I was like, oh, you get to read books all day. It's so funny because you also have to be quiet in the library. So I've really done something quite different. Although I do silent retreats. So maybe the inner librarian is coming out.
Yeah. Tell me more. What's a silent retreat? Like, where do you go to do those?
Yes, so I am planning on doing Vipassana, and that is the 10-day sitting in meditation
Beautiful.
session. That's at the end of the year. What I do at the moment is a 3-day over a weekend, and you can read and you can write. It's just no talking. And you'd be similar to me when you're speaking so much for your job.
Yeah.
Sometimes our voice and the other voices around us are so loud we can't hear the most important voice, which is our inner one. So I love going to silent retreats so I can really tune into my higher self, and every time I go, amazing stuff drops in. So I'd highly recommend it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to definitely be Googling that one, because I go and I'm a bit of an ambivert, right? So I appear to be an extrovert, but I love being alone with my own thoughts. But yeah, I talk.
Love it.
So I think I'll really, really love it. All right. My next question for you is, can you name 3 books that have inspired you?
Oh, 3 books that have inspired me.
Yeah.
I'd have to say Think and Grow Rich. I know it seems very typical. However, when I think about it, it probably was the first real book that I read about law of attraction and all of that.
Yeah.
The Women Who Run with Wolves.
Ooh, I've heard it. I've heard of it before, but I have not read it. Tell me more. What is it about?
Yeah, Women Who Run with Wolves. It's a very dense read, and it tells a whole lot of stories to help understand, I guess, our archetypes. And it's one of those books where I've read it in lots of different bits, and I still pick up and read pieces. And whenever I open the book, I'm always taken to the exact passage I needed to hear in that particular day.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. It's like pulling a card, right? When people who like to do the, different cards and things like that, the book does that for you. That's amazing.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And what about the third one? I feel like I want it to be a fiction. because I just read so much personal development that
Same. I don't read fiction at all.
yeah. You know what I would go with? I would probably go with Alice in Wonderland for something a bit different,
Yeah.
because I read it when I was a kid and I really like Lewis Carroll for how nonsensical his writing is. And it does inspire me, because think about how we say, oh, we go down rabbit holes and
Yeah.
are we dreaming, and what's real and what's not real. It's like whatever it is, we make it. So
Yeah.
I just
and
thought of
that's-
that on the fly.
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland is beautiful, has lots of lessons for how we can live.
Yeah, you can totally tell you're NLP trained with half the things, the way you say things and what's real and what's not real and all the brain stuff, right? Like I think
Nothing is real. Everything is
Nothing.
real.
All right, I know, right? I'm fascinated by the brain and the way it all works. Like we have inside our community a life coach or a money and mindset confidence coach, but the way in which she helps clients to really truly understand that we create our own stories, like when speaking and being uncomfortable and scared, it's our brain creating stories. And it's so fascinating. That was interesting because most of the time people always do self-development books. And I love that you're like, I want to do something different. So that was really cool. And now I want to go and watch.
I was going to give you a third one, but I thought, it's always personal development. Whereas sometimes it's those childhood books that can really have the
Yeah.
biggest influence on
And
us.
I love Alice in Wonderland. So now I'm going to go and watch Alice in Wonderland this afternoon when I cool down inside. All right, so my final question for you in the Sparkle lineup is, if you were sitting in my shoes today interviewing you, what would be a question that you would have asked yourself?
Oh, that is such a great question, isn't it? I thought you were going to say, who would I have if I was in your seat? And I'm like, oh, yes, definitely Meghan Markle. I would have her to be interviewed. If I was asking myself something, I would say, I guess, why I'm so passionate about voice.
Yes, everything comes back to the why. So, Sal, why are you so passionate about voice?
I was reading the other day, there's this book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, and it was an Australian palliative care nurse who wrote it. She interviewed lots of patients in their final days. And the first one was, I wish I'd lived a life true to me, not what other people thought I should do. And I feel like that is so true with what we do in speaking, is we need to speak what's true to us, not just the thing that we think we should do. The second one was, I wish I hadn't worked so hard, which is kind of funny. And the third one is what really speaks to my why. The third one was, I wish I'd had the courage to express myself.
Yeah.
And they'd said that they'd pushed down what they wanted to say to keep the peace or whatever it was. And they reported that those emotions, this is another NLP thing, those emotions had manifested as disease in the body, had that resentment and that bitterness had affected health. And so I truly believe in the voice as this beautiful energetic channel for expression, to share our products and services with the world. Yet it's also such a strong channel for healing, because if we can express ourselves, when people say, well, I don't want to be a speaker, so why do I need it?
Yeah.
It goes so much deeper than that, because if you can live your life being able to express through your voice to your friends, to your family, on social media or otherwise, then it's also great for your own health, because you're clearing those things that need to be cleared. So it's very magical work that I get to do.
Yes, it just reminded me when I was going through therapy, and a huge moment and awakening for me was shame and guilt cannot survive the spoken word. And I had hidden trauma for 30 years. And I didn't even know that I had PTSD literally my entire life. And I finally am able to speak. And shame and whenever topics around my trauma would come up, I would be like, inside everything would shake and nerves, and I couldn't speak, and I'd close up and I went into freeze mode. And I got to that point where I was like, no more bloody way will I let this 30-year trauma stay silent? And when she said those few words, shame and guilt cannot survive the spoken word, she said it's like you put shame and guilt in a petri dish, you put the lid on, and what happens? It festers and it grows and it turns into this really gross, horrible thing. And then finally, I was able to speak it and say it out loud. And now it's like I'm free. And yeah, so that, what you just said, just triggered that huge memory that I had. And I only sought therapy in my 40s for some childhood trauma. And finally, when my husband and I got married, I was like 23. He goes, one day you'll need to talk to somebody about that, darling. Here I am, 30 years later, finally. So yeah, I think it's a beautiful gift that you do and help people with. So I saw you write that down too, didn't you?
Oh,
Yeah.
I did. Shame and guilt cannot survive the spoken word. That is making me so emotional because that is exactly what we're talking about. And I know this episode was make money while you speak, but this is where it starts. If in your life you do have that guilt and shame, like a lot of us have or have had in the past, breaking through that will make going on social media super easy, as you've experienced. You know,
Yeah.
once you can get that shit out, it's kind of like going back to the shit in the pipes from the start of this episode, isn't it?
P1 and P2,
clear
they got
that.
their eye on you.
Yeah, and I've had many clients where we start at them being able to speak to their partner, at them being able to speak up for their kids, and then they can speak up for their business. So,
Yeah.
Sal, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And that so beautifully described my why. I love it.
All right. So my beautiful podcast manager, Mar, who does all the amazingness of organising our lineup of guests, always makes me ask this final question. So it's a sentence that you have to say and complete. So, hi, my name is Sally and I sparkle because, and complete the sentence.
Hi, my name is Sally and I sparkle because I'm me.
Yes, I love that one. So good. That's it, right? That is 100% it. We all sparkle because no one else can be you, just you. And what a great way to end a fabulous day here and ending with, another Sally on screen, right? Look at us.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sal. This was so much fun. I had a blast. And honestly, we need to do this more. I'm sure we can think of all sorts of topics to talk about. We've spent hours talking in Clubhouse, but it's nice to actually be like on the screen together, right? Instead of in the ears.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys, for everyone else out there, like if somebody wants to find you, stalk you, all the things, where is the best place to find you? Where do you like to hang out on the socials?
So I do like TikTok at Sally Prosser Voice. However, I would love to hear from you in the DMs of Instagram. So Instagram at Sally Prosser Voice. I'm also on Facebook, LinkedIn, not an international woman of mystery. You'll find me on lots and lots of platforms. And for anyone watching live, I've actually got a course that is starting on Sunday. So if you're keen to... Yeah, I just remember that. I'm like, what else have I got to do today? Yes, launching a course. Yes. So it's called Speak From Your Soul, and that starts on Sunday. So get in touch today if you'd like to learn more about that.
Yeah, if you're on the live stream, go, right? Like, she's amazing, this lady. Go check it out. And snap a photo if you're watching this or listening to this and tag us both on Instagram, right? Yes. Both Sallys. Awesome. Thank you so much, Sal, for joining us. And for everybody else out there, thank you for those who have been tuning in all day long. As normal, we have our beautiful stalking sparklers out there, our sparkle lifers who love to catch us for podcast batching day. It happens about every 4 weeks, so just subscribe, click the little bell to the channel, or message Dr. Sparkle. She will hook you up with reminders. But we've had a fabulous lineup of guests today. If you're just catching the final session today, we had 3 amazing people. We were talking about the teaching revolution with Chris, and also customer-driven growth with Jared, and of course the beautiful, stunning Sally with the voice. So I look forward to seeing you on our next live. It will be Tuesday or Monday, depends on where you are in the world. But as always, guys, never let anyone dull your sparkle. And thank you so much, Sally, for joining us. It was so great. All right, we are going to head on out, but thank you so much. And we dance.
I will not bow down. Keep putting me off, I'm not gonna change my mind. Your headstrong forward, but this time around I'm taking my time. Don't push me, I'm not coming down, I'm not giving up. Oh, don't rush me, I made up my mind, going straight to